My dear friends, there is a sacred time of the day when the world is silent, the air is pure, and the heart can hear the voice of God more clearly. That time is 4 a.m. It is not just a number on the clock, it is the doorway to transformation. When the world sleeps, the wise rise. When distractions are silent, discipline speaks. If you can conquer your mornings, you can conquer your life. Waking up at 4 a.m. is not just about starting early, it's about aligning with nature, aligning with God, and aligning with your highest self. Today, I want to take you on a journey of how waking up at 4 a.m. can truly change your life, not just externally in success, but internally in peace and purpose. There is something sacred, almost magical, about the early hours before the sun rises. The stillness of 4 a.m. is not just silence, it is a living silence. A silence so deep that it feels as though God Himself has paused the world for you to listen, reflect, and connect. The divine connection at dawn is unlike any other moment in the day. Most of us spend our hours running, rushing, chasing deadlines, or battling distractions, but at 4 a.m., time slows down, the noise fades away, and the soul awakens. It is the moment when the heart becomes a temple, and prayer feels natural, not forced. Think about the difference between rushing into a crowded marketplace and sitting by a quiet lake. Both are parts of life, but only one gives you calm. Waking up at 4 a.m. is like sitting by that lake. It is the lake of your own consciousness, undisturbed and clear. At this hour, your mind is not yet filled with the noise of the world. It is empty, receptive, and pure. Just like fertile soil ready to receive seeds, your mind at dawn is ready to receive wisdom, inspiration, and the gentle whispers of God. Many of us complain that we do not have time for ourselves. We say life is too busy, responsibilities too heavy, and distractions too many. But the truth is, life does give us time. It gives us the gift of early mornings. The problem is, we often sleep through this sacred gift. Imagine a person receiving a treasure chest full of jewels, but leaving it unopened every day. That is what happens when we ignore the early hours. Those who discover this treasure, the quiet moments with God before the world awakens, carry a kind of strength and peace that others cannot understand. In practical terms, this connection transforms the day. Picture this: a person wakes up at 8 a.m., rushing out of bed, skipping breakfast, scrolling through their phone, and hurrying to work. Their morning begins with stress, their mind already heavy before the day even starts. Now picture another person waking up at 4 a.m. They sit in silence, breathe deeply, maybe meditate or pray, perhaps write down thoughts of gratitude. They watch as the sky slowly changes from darkness to light. Their mind feels clear, their heart feels peaceful. Who do you think will handle challenges better that day? Who will speak with more patience, more compassion, and more wisdom? Of course, the one who connected to God first. The divine connection at dawn is not just about religion, ritual, or routine. It is about alignment. When you wake up at 4 a.m. and give those first moments to God, you are telling your soul, before I serve the world, I will serve the source. Before I listen to others, I will listen to the one within me. This alignment changes the quality of the entire day. Just as a train moves smoothly when it is on the right track, our life moves smoothly when we begin on the right spiritual track. In daily life, we face countless distractions, phones buzzing, people demanding our attention, problems needing solutions. But at 4 a.m., there is none of that. No calls, no emails, no noise, just silence. In that silence, you begin to notice things you usually ignore: the rhythm of your breath, the softness of your thoughts, the calm beating of your heart. These simple things remind you that life is not about running endlessly, but about being present, aware and connected. Some people say, I cannot pray. My mind is restless. That is because they try to pray in the middle of the day when the mind is already crowded with tasks and worries. But at dawn, the mind is naturally still and prayer becomes effortless. Even a few moments of sincere reflection at this time are more powerful than hours of distracted thinking later in the day. Just as a seed grows best in fertile soil, your spiritual practice grows best in the fertile silence of the morning. Even great sages, poets, and leaders throughout history valued this hour. Why? Because they knew that creativity, clarity, and wisdom flow when the world is quiet. A poet may find words in the silence of dawn that do not come at any other time. A leader may find solutions in meditation before the city awakens. And an ordinary person like you and me may find strength, peace, and direction for the challenges of daily life simply by spending those moments with God at 4 a.m. And here lies the real beauty. This divine connection is not reserved for saints or sages. It is for anyone willing to wake up and embrace it. A mother, a student, a worker, an elder, anyone who chooses to rise at this hour can drink from this well of peace. And once you taste it, you realize that no worldly pleasure can replace it. It gives a satisfaction that is beyond material success, a joy that is beyond entertainment, and a calm that is beyond explanation. So when we speak of waking up at 4 a.m., it is not about adding extra hours to our day. It is about adding depth to our life. It is about saying, I will not just exist today, I will live consciously. It is about starting the day with God so that no matter what storms come later, you carry the sunshine within you. And that, my friends, is the divine connection at dawn, the secret to inner strength, outer peace, and a life that feels not just lived, but truly blessed. Self-discipline is not just about waking up early, following routines, or forcing yourself into habits. It is the inner strength that separates those who dream from those who achieve. It is the invisible bridge between desire and accomplishment, between goals and reality. Without discipline, even the brightest talents fade away, but with discipline, even ordinary people rise to extraordinary heights. It is the power that transforms intentions into results. Think for a moment, how many times have we promised ourselves, from tomorrow I will eat healthy, or from next week I will study harder, or from the new year I will change my lifestyle. The problem is not lack of desire. We all want to improve. The problem is lack of discipline, the ability to do what needs to be done even when we don't feel like doing it. Discipline is that quiet voice within that says, get up, keep going, stay consistent even when comfort is tempting us back into bed. Imagine a farmer planting seeds. He cannot see the crop immediately. He waters daily, removes weeds, and takes care of the soil with patience. If he stops after 2 days because results aren't visible, the seeds will die. But if he continues with discipline, in time, the harvest will come. Life works in exactly the same way. Waking up early, studying consistently, exercising regularly, practicing meditation daily, these are like watering the seeds of success. At first, it feels small, invisible, maybe even pointless. But with discipline, the results show, and they show powerfully. In our daily lives, we often admire people who are successful, fit, or spiritually strong. We say they are lucky or they are gifted. But luck and talent are never enough. Behind their success is an unseen pattern of discipline. The athlete who wins gold has trained at dawn while the world slept. The student who excels has studied while others scrolled endlessly on their phones. The spiritual seeker who radiates peace has prayed and meditated while others drowned in distractions. What we admire in them is not luck. It is discipline. Self-discipline also teaches us the greatest truth of life. Comfort now often means suffering later, but discipline now brings comfort later. For example, when we choose the comfort of staying in bed rather than exercising, we pay the price later with poor health. When we choose the comfort of procrastination rather than consistent work, we pay the price later with stress and regret. But when we choose discipline, waking early, focusing on our duties, controlling our desires, we enjoy the rewards later: health, success, peace of mind, and respect. One of the most inspiring examples of discipline is seen in nature itself. Look at rivers. They flow continuously, without stopping, shaping valleys, nourishing lands, and creating life. It is not their strength in one moment that creates such power, but their continuous, disciplined flow over time. In the same way, your efforts may seem small: a page of study, a short meditation, a few push-ups, an extra hour in the morning. But when repeated daily with discipline, these efforts carve out success as rivers carve out valleys. In daily life, you can practice discipline in small, simple ways. For example, keeping your phone aside during meals, showing up on time for commitments, finishing one task before jumping to another, or dedicating 10 minutes daily to silence and reflection. These habits may seem ordinary, but they build extraordinary strength within. Just like muscles grow when we lift weights consistently, discipline grows when we practice it in small, everyday actions. What makes discipline even more beautiful is that it liberates us. Many people think discipline is restrictive, like a prison. But in truth, discipline frees us. When you have the discipline to wake up early, you are free from the chains of laziness. When you have the discipline to control your desires, you are free from addiction. When you have the discipline to focus, you are free from distraction. Discipline is not about limiting your life, it is about taking control of it so you can live it fully and meaningfully. A child without discipline may enjoy sweets all day, but soon suffers with illness. And an adult without discipline may enjoy endless distractions, but soon suffers with wasted years. Discipline asks for effort today, but gives you with a brighter tomorrow. It is like planting a tree. The act may be difficult at first, digging the soil, watering daily, waiting patiently. But years later, that same tree gives shade, fruit, and beauty, not just for you but for others as well. And here is the ultimate truth: mastering self-discipline means mastering yourself. If you can control your sleep, your hunger, your desires, your laziness, you become unstoppable. External enemies cannot harm you as much as your own lack of discipline can. But once you conquer yourself, the world bows before you. The greatest victories are not over others, but over the weaknesses within. So when you rise at 4 a.m., when you sit for meditation despite the temptation of sleep, when you work on your goals even when no one is watching, you are not just practicing a routine, you are practicing mastery. You are training your mind to listen to you, not to your moods. And in that mastery lies freedom, power, and peace. Discipline may not give you instant joy, but it gives you lasting satisfaction. Comfort may give you pleasure for a moment, but discipline gives you pride for a lifetime. And when you look back on your journey, you will not remember the easy choices that made life comfortable. You will remember the disciplined choices that made life meaningful. Life is not random, it is rhythmic. The universe has its own flow, its own cycle, its own divine timing. The sun rises, the moon sets, the tides move, the seasons change, and every part of creation dances in harmony with this rhythm. When we align ourselves with this natural order, life feels smoother, calmer, and more balanced. But when we fight against it, we feel restless, stressed, and disconnected. Waking up at 4 a.m. is not just about discipline, it is about tuning our lives to the rhythm of nature and through it to the rhythm of God's creation. Think of how nature works. Flowers bloom with the sun, not at midnight. Birds rise with the dawn, not at noon. Rivers flow continuously, not in sudden bursts. The planets move in perfect orbits, never too fast, never too slow. Nothing in creation is in a hurry, yet everything is accomplished. When you step into this flow, you stop feeling like you are dragging life and you begin to feel carried by it. That is the gift of aligning with nature's rhythm. In daily life, most people live out of sync with nature. We stay awake deep into the night, eating heavy meals when our body is asking for rest. We sleep when the sun is rising, missing the energy nature offers us at dawn. We fill our days with artificial light, artificial noise, and artificial stimulation, forgetting that the natural rhythm of day and night was designed not just for the planet, but for our own health and peace. That's why so many feel tired, anxious, and restless, even though they are not physically overworked. It is not always stress from outside, it is disconnection from inside, from the natural cycle we were meant to live in. Think about the simple act of waking up at dawn. At this time, the air is cleaner, oxygen is higher, and the mind is clearer. Science confirms what sages already knew, that the early hours are the most supportive for focus, memory, and creativity. But beyond science, there is also spirit. At dawn, the world is in balance. The noise of human activity has not yet disturbed the silence. The light of the sun slowly breaks the darkness, symbolizing the victory of clarity over confusion, of hope over despair. When you rise at this time, you are not just waking your body, you are waking your soul. Consider this: when you wake up late, your day feels rushed, heavy, and scattered. You are always running behind, always trying to catch up. But when you wake with the sun, your day feels spacious, calm, and grounded. You have time for yourself, time for reflection, time to begin in peace before the world demands your attention. This is alignment. Just as a surfer rides the wave with ease by flowing with it, not against it, you too ride the wave of life more smoothly when you flow with nature's rhythm. Farmers understand this truth deeply. They sow in the right season, harvest in the right season, and rest in the right season. If they go against nature, their crops fail. The same principle applies to us. When we sleep in harmony with night, rise in harmony with dawn, and eat in harmony with the body's needs, we flourish. When we ignore these rhythms, our health declines, our mind grows restless, and our spirit feels disconnected. The body is designed to rise with light and rest with darkness. Ignoring this design is like swimming against the current. It only tires us without taking us anywhere. Even in spirituality, rhythm is everything. Breath has rhythm. Inhale, exhale. The heart has rhythm, beat after beat. Prayer has rhythm, repetition of mantras, chants, or verses. When we tune ourselves into these rhythms, we find inner peace. But when we disturb them, breathing shallowly, sleeping irregularly, living without balance, we feel uneasy. Aligning with nature means realigning with our own natural design. Let's take a simple daily example. A person wakes at 11 a.m., rushes into breakfast, skips reflection, and starts work already behind schedule. They spend the day fighting fatigue, needing caffeine, scrolling endlessly for stimulation, and at night, when the body asks for rest, they force it to stay awake with screens and noise. Contrast this with someone who wakes with the sun at 4 or 5 a.m. They breathe deeply in fresh air, maybe meditate, exercise, or simply sit in silence. They start their work early with a clear head, feel accomplished by midday, and by evening, their mind is naturally ready for rest. Who do you think will live with more energy, balance, and peace? Clearly, the one aligned with rhythm. There is also a spiritual beauty to this alignment. When you wake at dawn, you realize you are not separate from creation. You are part of it. The rising sun feels like a reminder that no matter how dark the night was, light always returns. The singing birds remind you that joy is found in simplicity. The cool breeze reminds you that renewal is always possible. In that moment, you don't just live, you belong. You feel guided, protected, and connected to something greater than yourself. The greatest wisdom of life is this: peace is not found in forcing things, but in aligning with them. Just as a musician tunes his instrument before a performance, we too must tune our lives with the rhythm of nature before stepping into the performance of each day. Waking up at 4 a.m. is that tuning. It aligns your mind, body, and spirit with the universe's song. And when you are aligned, you don't just survive the day, you flow through it with grace, balance, and harmony. The greatest war we will ever fight is not with the world outside, but with the world inside. The battles of the mind against laziness, fear, doubt, procrastination, and negative thoughts are far harder than any physical struggle. Yet, it is precisely these inner battles that shape the direction of our lives. If we cannot conquer ourselves, we cannot conquer anything else. But if we win the battles within, then no challenge outside can defeat us. Think of a simple morning. The alarm rings at 4 a.m. One voice inside says, "Wake up, rise, this is your moment." Another voice whispers, "Just 5 more minutes, the bed is warm, the sleep is sweet." This is not a small choice, it is a battle. If you listen to weakness, you lose the day before it even begins. But if you choose strength, you win not just the morning, but the power to face everything that comes after it. Winning these small, invisible battles gives us visible strength in life. Many people believe success is about talent, luck, or opportunity. But truly, success is about self-mastery. Imagine a person with incredible talent, but no control over their habits. They waste time, they give in to distractions, they fail to stay consistent. Their talent is wasted. On the other hand, imagine someone with average talent, but tremendous discipline, focus, and willpower. That person will rise higher than the one with talent, but no control. Why? Because they win their inner battles first. Let's look at procrastination, one of the most common enemies within. How many times have we delayed important tasks just because we didn't feel like it? This small inner defeat multiplies. The task grows heavier, the pressure builds, and stress replaces peace. But when we overcome procrastination, even by taking one small step forward, we gain energy and momentum. The battle of procrastination is not about the task. It is about defeating the voice of resistance within. Fear is another silent enemy. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of the unknown. Often, the situation is not as threatening as our own mind makes it. A student fears an exam not because of the paper, but because of the self-doubt within. An artist fears sharing their work not because people will surely reject it, but because the inner critic whispers, "You are not good enough." Winning the battle against fear does not mean fear disappears. It means you act despite fear. Courage is not the absence of fear, but the decision to move forward while fear is present. One of the greatest inner battles is against negative thinking. A single negative thought can ruin a peaceful moment. For example, you may wake up happy, but one small worry enters your mind, and suddenly the day feels heavy. The battle here is not against the problem itself, but against the way the mind reacts to it. Winning this battle means choosing positivity choosing gratitude, choosing to see what is right instead of only what is wrong. When we win this battle, we turn obstacles into lessons and problems into opportunities. Even laziness, which may seem harmless, is a silent destroyer. Think about it, how many dreams have been buried because of the sentence, "I'll do it later." Laziness whispers comfort, but it steals progress. Winning the battle against laziness is not about working endlessly. It is about moving forward when your mind resists. Even taking one small action breaks laziness. For example, instead of saying, "I'll exercise tomorrow," do 5 minutes of stretching today. Instead of saying, "I'll start reading next week," read 1 page today. These small victories add up, and soon you realize you are not a servant of laziness, but a master of action. Winning the inner battles also brings deep peace. Imagine carrying 2 heavy bags, one filled with regret from the past, the other filled with worry about the future. Every step feels difficult. Now imagine putting those bags down. You instantly feel lighter. That is what happens when you win the battles against regret, worry, and overthinking. You stop being trapped by what you cannot change and start living fully in what you can. History and daily life show us examples of those who mastered themselves. A warrior may defeat thousands in battle, but the one who defeats his own anger is far greater. A leader may control nations, but the one who controls his own tongue is truly powerful. A worker may face endless challenges outside, but the one who keeps calm inside will always rise above difficulties. True victory is not outside. It is within. Think about your own life. Every day, small battles appear. Should I wake early or sleep longer? Should I eat healthy or indulge? Should I focus on my goals or get lost in distractions? Each choice may seem small, but each one is a sword strike in the inner battlefield. Every victory builds strength. Every defeat weakens resolve. Life is not shaped in big moments alone. It is shaped in these daily battles. The beauty of winning inner battles is that the outer world becomes easier. A person who has conquered laziness finds work natural. A person who has conquered anger builds stronger relationships. A person who has conquered fear walks into opportunities with confidence. And a person who has conquered distraction lives with clarity. Inner victory makes outer victory inevitable. So, before we fight the world outside, let us fight the world inside. Before we try to control others, let us control ourselves. Before we demand discipline from the world, let us demand it from our own mind. The alarm clock, the temptations, the fears, the doubts, these are our daily opponents. But every time we choose strength over weakness, action over delay, faith over fear, and discipline over distraction, we step closer to becoming the best version of ourselves. The greatest warriors are not those who destroy others, but those who conquer themselves. And once you win the inner battles, no outer storm can shake you, because your foundation is unshakable. That, my friends, is the power of mastering the battlefield within. One of the greatest gifts you can give yourself is time. Not time for work, not time for entertainment, not time for endless scrolling, but time for reflection and purpose. In the rush of life, most people are busy, but very few are truly moving in the right direction. We are often like ships sailing at full speed, but without a compass. We move fast, but we don't always know where we are going. Reflection is the compass and purpose is the destination. Without them, life becomes an endless cycle of activity without meaning. When you wake up at 4 a.m. and sit in silence, you create space to reflect. Reflection is not about overthinking or worrying. It is about pausing and asking simple but powerful questions. And am I living consciously? Am I using my time wisely? Am I moving closer to who I truly want to be? These questions, those small, open doors to self-awareness. Most people live life reacting to situations, chasing after what others expect, or following habits without questioning them. But reflection breaks this autopilot mode. It makes you aware, and awareness is the beginning of transformation. Think about a driver on a journey. If he keeps driving without checking his map, he might end up miles away from his destination. The faster he drives in the wrong direction, the further he goes from where he wants to be. That is how many people live busy, but misaligned. Reflection is like pulling over, checking the map, and realigning your path. It may take a few minutes, but it saves years of going the wrong way. In daily life, reflection can be as simple as sitting quietly in the morning and reviewing the previous day. Ask yourself, what did I do well yesterday? What can I improve today? Did I act according to my values, or did I just react to circumstances? This small practice sharpens your awareness. It helps you see patterns, whether you are growing or whether you are stuck repeating the same mistakes. Without reflection, mistakes repeat themselves. With reflection, mistakes become lessons. Purpose is equally vital. Many people live without asking, why am I here? What is the deeper meaning of my actions? They work, earn, spend, sleep, repeat. But purpose is what makes life meaningful. Purpose does not have to be something huge like saving the world. Purpose can be found in simple intentions, being kind to others, growing a little every day, contributing positively to your family or community, living with integrity. Purpose gives direction to reflection. It tells you not just who you are, but who you want to become. Consider two students preparing for an exam. One studies mechanically, memorizing facts with no sense of why. The other studies with purpose, knowing that this knowledge will help shape their career and future. Which one do you think will stay motivated? The one with purpose. The same applies to all areas of life. Purpose fuels discipline. Purpose makes effort joyful instead of painful. Reflection also protects you from regrets. Imagine someone working tirelessly for years, only to realize later that they were climbing the wrong ladder, that their success did not bring them happiness. This happens when we chase without reflecting. But when you pause regularly, you prevent such regrets. You course correct early. You make sure your outer success matches your inner values. Let's take a simple example. A businessman reflects every morning. He asks himself, am I only chasing profit? Or am I also creating value? Am I treating my employees with respect? Am I leaving behind something meaningful? These questions don't slow him down, they elevate him. They help him not just build wealth, but build a legacy. Contrast this with someone who never reflects. He may achieve financial success but feel empty because he never asked himself what truly mattered. Reflection gives depth to success. Without it, even victory can feel hollow. On a personal level, reflection strengthens relationships. For instance, a parent who reflects may realize, I was too busy yesterday, I didn't give enough attention to my child. This awareness allows them to adjust today. Or a friend may reflect, I spoke harshly yesterday, I need to apologize and speak with more patience. Reflection turns mistakes into opportunities to grow closer, kinder, and wiser. Spiritually, reflection is the bridge to God. In silence, when you ask, what is my purpose? You often find that the answer is not in material gains, but in spiritual growth, kindness, humility, and service. The early morning is the perfect time for this conversation with yourself and with the divine. It is when the heart is most open and the mind least distracted. Reflection also creates gratitude. When you look back at your day or weak, you notice blessings you might have ignored. You see how many small things went right, how many times you were protected, how many gifts you already have. Gratitude then replaces complaint, and life feels fuller, even without anything new. The beauty of reflection is that it requires no tools, no money, no special skills, only time and willingness. Even 10 minutes of stillness at dawn can shift the energy of your whole day. It clears confusion, renews focus, and gives you strength. And when this practice becomes regular, you start to live more consciously, making decisions not from habit or pressure, but from awareness and purpose. Purpose, when discovered, transforms everything. Work becomes service. Struggles become lessons, challenges become stepping stones. You no longer ask, why me? But rather, what can I learn and how can I grow? Life feels less like a burden and more like a journey, one in which every step, every sunrise, and every effort has meaning. So when you wake up early and give yourself time for reflection, you are not wasting time. You are investing it. You are ensuring that your day is not just filled with activity, but with direction. You are making sure that your actions are not just movements, but steps towards purpose. And when reflection and purpose guide your life, you don't just exist, you truly live.